Hey friends, this is Lori from Cruising for Treasure, and you are watching my What Sold show. So I'm going to show you everything that sold over the weekend for me on my various platforms. So I sell on eBay, Poshmark, Facebook, and Mercari. And I had sales on every platform except for Mercari this weekend. So let me just get right into it and show you the sales. Here we go. Okay, so with Facebook, I do both pickup and also I do shipping. And so this weekend I actually had two of both, one of each. So I had a pickup and they picked up a copper crisp pan. So I'll put a screenshot of that up there. And that sold for $20. And then I had a shipping item that sold. And this is so adorable. It is a Polish pottery ornament. Is that not the cutest? So that sold on Facebook Marketplace for $17. And the buyer does pay shipping on that. So that came from an online auction win that I had. And so I've done several videos where I've unboxed items from that haul. And no, wait, that's a different thing. This one is from one that was not the hoarder haul mystery boxes. This was a different online auction. Anyway, online auction, I think I probably paid I would say between $3 and $4 an item in that auction. So it sold for $17 on Facebook Marketplace. So then minus all the fees and whatever. And then that's what you have. Okay, so let's do some of my Poshmark sales. So I had, 5 Poshmark sales over the weekend. So not too bad. I'm quite happy. All right, so the first one is this Johnny Was nylon reusable bag. So cute. This sold for $10. So you can see it's got the spell out there. Obviously, don't go and spend a ton of money on these. They're just not, worth that much money. But if you can pick them up at the bins, or, for me, I found it at Savers, and it was kind of a test the waters, see how it's going to go. And so now I know they sell in the $10 range. So if I can pick it up for $1 or less, absolutely. Otherwise, it's really not worth the time. Okay, this next one is actually really fun. Okay, sorry guys. I'm using my phone to record and I don't know exactly where to look, where the thingy is. So if it looks weird, sorry. Okay, this is an awesome jacket, coat, whatever. This is Idlewind, and I think it's Miranda Lambert. So this is a XXL, sold for $33. I did pick this up at Savers. There's the tag in case you need it. There's the tag. It's like a sweater coat, barn coat, those types of things. $33. And it actually didn't take super long to sell, so that's pretty cool. All right, next, this is a pickup from Savers. I believe I paid $7 for this. Unfortunately, it only had the Savers tag, which Savers, Sierra. Sierra is like the outdoor workout brand of Marshall's TJ Maxx. So I will always remove the the Sierra tag, just because people don't want that. I don't want them to know that it was bought, at a sharp discount. But there was not a Sweaty Betty tag on it. So it was listed as new without tags. Long story. $40. I paid, I believe, $7 for this at Sierra. So it is the Power Workout Sleeveless Scoop Neck Dress in a tangerine orange. So again, that I paid $7, sold for $40 on Poshmark. This next one, guys, okay, I had never heard of this brand. And then I went into Goodwill and I was checking out the new racks that were coming out, as I do. And I saw someone had donated a whole bunch of this brand. And so I'm like, what in the world? So I looked it up. The comps were not amazing, but some of the prints were just so cool. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get them and we'll see how it goes. Guys, I am selling them like crazy, okay? It's called Constantly Varied Gear, okay? This is the tag. There you go. And this is size small. This one was just, you know, a really cool blue, green print. And this sold for $25 on Poshmark. So I have had prints with skulls, with roses, with barbed wire, with astronauts and planets, and they're all selling. I think I only have 1 or 2 maybe pairs left. I will say the sports bras are not selling as well as the leggings, but definitely something to keep your eye out for, because for me, they're selling really well despite what the comps said. The sell-through rate for comps was just not great, but I'm doing pretty well. The lowest I think I've sold them for is $20, so just shop accordingly. Okay, this is a New Tags old stock vintage pair of Talbots, like a raw silk pant, silk shantung. There you go. With a lovely, like a coral pink color, and it's a zip, and it's like the type of pant that doesn't really have that defined waist, you know. But these sold for $22, so not too shabby. Talbots can do really well because, I mean, if you've ever been in their stores, their prices are very expensive. So sometimes, obviously I don't get everything, but I mean, last week or the week before, I sold a sweater for 40 or 38, something like that, New Tags. So if it's New Tags, it's definitely worth looking into. Okay, next is, these are now all eBay sales. So I had 8 eBay sales over the weekend. And at the end, I'll have a little story time about what I'm doing with my eBay store. So stay tuned for that. Okay, this is from 1981. It is Dungeons and Dragons module for character levels 1 through 3, TSR basic set book, whatever. Sold for $20. So I got this from an online auction, and it was quite a few different books from the different Dungeons and Dragons games or levels or whatever. I do not play the game. I know nothing about it. I just know that other people play it and other people will pay a lot of money. So this is the last item from that set, that lot to sell. So $20, happy to see it go. This next one, I'm going to look this up on my spreadsheet because I don't actually remember where I got it from, but it's an Aladdin planter. It is McCoy, is on the bottom, USA, and this sold for $12. Someone sent me an offer. I've had it listed for quite a while. Let me go ahead and pull this up and see where I got it from. Let's see, $12. Oh, I paid $3, so that's not that great, but I've had it listed since 2022. So this is definitely not a bolo. And let's see, where did it come from? Was it from Goodwill? Oh, it was from an online auction. So most likely everything else from the lot that was part of this has already sold and made me my money. This is just like bonus. So unfortunately it's breakable bonus. Not my favorite. Which I have, I think, 4 breakable items that are going out the door today. So that's fantastic on a day when I don't have a lot of actual time. Amazing. Okay. This is a pickup from Savers, not Sierra, Savers. Let me, stuck. Okay. This is Drake Waterfowl Camo Pullover Coat, size 2XL. This sold for $39. It did take a little while to sell, but anything that hunters can use is a good thing to check comps, because for quality gear, which they want quality gear because they're, you know, climbing through the trees in the forest and whatever, the swamp. So they want quality gear that will hold up to that. So if you find a substantial piece, go ahead and look it up and see if maybe you can make some money on it. And I did. $39 is what that sold for. You know what? Let me just look that up to see what I paid for it, because I don't actually remember. I paid $8 and listed it in January. So that's not too bad. $8 into $39. Absolutely. Okay. This next piece is so fun. This is Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, and it's called Flow Blue Porcelain. I don't know exactly what that means. I'm assuming it has something to do with the technique, but it's a little honey jar. Oopsies. Okay, honey jar. And then the lid has the little, you know, the little thingy that you can put the little spoon in there, the honey thing in there. It's not marked on the bottom, but it does have that label. When you are confused about a specific item, make sure you're using Google Lens, because that will help you at least give you a step down the right direction, down the right path to identify what you have, if it's something that's completely out of your wheelhouse. And so that's what I did for this one, and was able to, you know, do a little bit of research, identify what it was. Okay, so, and it does say on there, I don't know if you can even read that, but it does say Denver and Rio Grande. So anything that is railroad related can be worth a decent amount of money because it is collectible. So this is actually an item that would have been used on this specific railroad in the dining car, or, you know, what have you. So definitely a collectible item. And this sold for $19.99. Now, this came from my haunted house mystery box haul. So, which I have several of those videos. I think there's a playlist that we put on my channel. And I paid approximately $2 or less for each item in that haul. So that's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty great. $2 into $20, and it sold fairly quickly. Keep your eyes peeled for future announcements, because I'm gonna do another haul. I would love to be able to do it this week. And what we're doing now is we're doing them live, just because it's a lot. So it's just easier to do it live. And I would like to finish all the unboxing in one fell swoop. So it's going to be a long one, but I want it done and over with. It's hanging over my head. Okay, let's see. This is from an online auction where I won a couple lots of vintage Ralph Lauren bedding. So these are 2 pillow shams, and this is the Palm Harbor pattern. And so these 2 pillow shams sold for $100. This is a discontinued pattern. It is highly sought after. And in fact, I think this is the last item to sell from that lot. I made hundreds, hundreds of dollars from that lot. So, and actually, I'm kind of smelling there's a little bit of an odor here. So I'm going to have to launder these real quick before I ship them out. But this, that pattern was really great. And then I got another pattern that's also really great. And it had 2 comforters that I currently have listed at $600. So check out those online auctions near you guys. You never know what you might be able to find. You might be able to find some things that can really make you a lot of money. All right, this is another online auction find. These sold for $27. I actually have sold these before, and they were returned for fit, which is a thing when you sell shoes online. I mean, it just makes sense. So I just kind of anticipate it. But I still love selling shoes because you can get an amazing profit. These sold for $27. I probably paid $3, $4, $5 for the pair. And even when they sell and get returned, I can resell them. And the brand is Echo, which, if you didn't know, is actually a very expensive brand and very high quality, usually always leather or some, you know, just top quality ingredients. And so I don't pick up every pair I find. And a lot of times, actually recently, the Echo pieces that I have found have been quite worn. But if you find a pair in really good condition, it's great to resell them. Okay, 2 more items that I'm going to show you. The first one is this lot of books. I had 13 of the Value Tales books, which are just vintage books that are told about historical figures in kind of a quirky, fun way with really cool drawings and such. So I had 13 and they sold for $30. If you get the complete set, you can sell this for a lot of money. However, I just don't have the space to, collect and hold all of these books until I'm able to accrue the entire set. So I was like, let's just get them listed and out the door. So that's what we did. $30 for 13 books. They are very heavy. Buyer pays shipping, but they can go media mail. Although recently, media mail is not always the cheapest option. So check your weight and your dimensions and then see what the best price is for your buyer. Okay, so the last item that is going out the door today is this really, really pretty mug. This is from Black Oak Art Pottery, and it is stamped on the bottom. That sold for $21.99 full price, which is awesome. And I'm going to look this up because I think this also came from my Hoarder House haul, which it really is. I would encourage you guys, if you like watching hauls, I would encourage you to go and watch those because it's really cool, all the different things that, yeah, this came from the Hoarder House mystery haul. This woman, she had a shopping problem, and but most of what she shopped was at thrift stores. And so the stickers are still on everything, which is kind of a pain. But she had really good taste, and there's a lot of different collectible items that she really went for in every thrift store she went to. So that was actually kind of out of the norm for what I was uncovering in the boxes, but it's still so cute, about $2, and it sold for $21.99. So pretty great. Okay. So update on my store. If you were here for the haul, you can log off, but only make sure, only after you subscribe to my channel, pretty please. Anyway, but for my store, okay, so I made a major change. I got rid of all of my postcards. So if that makes you sad, it made me sad as well. However, I would not say don't sell postcards. If you were to sell postcards, you have to set it up from the beginning in a logical manner, if that makes sense. The first collection I got was all stateside, like all USA postcards. So we organized it by state. Well, that's all well and good until I got the next collection, and then all of those were not USA. They were international, some were still USA, etc. At that point, I already had too many of the States ones. And so to just go through all of them and reorganize and redo it was daunting, and I didn't want to do it because that's a lot of time invested in an item that does not have a sell-through rate that's phenomenal, and it's a low dollar sale. So it's just not worth a lot of time invested at that point to go back and redo stuff. So I continued listing, and it got to the point where I had 2,500 postcards listed on my eBay store. And I could just tell that it was causing the rest of my store to just shrivel because I have all of these listings that are long tail, which means they only sell, once in a blue moon. And they don't get a lot of views. They don't get a lot of watchers. They just don't get a lot of activity. So when you have a store that's just bloated with all of those types of listings, and yet you're trying to sell, like your main money makers are what I do, clothing, shoes, and accessories, those listings just aren't getting the views that they should either because it just confuses the algorithm. So if I were to ever do it again, I would have a separate store, which I did create a separate store, but there's just no easy way to transfer listings from one store to another. If you know of a way, tell the class because it would be very helpful in the future. But if I were to do it again, I would have a separate store. I would list them all on that store, and I would number each card as I listed it with its own number in a sleeve. That way, and put that number on the listing, the coordinating number. And that way when it sells, all I have to do is go find that number in my stacks of postcards. Because otherwise what you're doing is you're thumbing through all of these postcards. It's time wasting and it's degrading to the postcards. So that's my word of advice. If anybody is interested in getting into postcards, absolutely. It's really fun. It's low stress because collectors, they're not going to return. I never got a return on the hundreds of postcards that I sold. They want what they want. They know what they want. And that's it. So it's very low stress. It's super easy to do, especially if you have a scanner, because you only have to have pictures of the front and the back. That's it. And then you create your title and you pick a price and you list it. So it's very easy. And out of all the possible categories that you could start in on eBay, that's a very easy niche to get into because it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's just, it's fun. So, but for me, for right now, I have eliminated all of the postcard listings from my store, which took my total listings available. It cut them more than half, which I love. And I'm still working on reducing more and more. And I'll be talking about that later. But my preferred store would be 1,500 active listings, and then just a very healthy, aggressive sell-through rate. That's what I'm working towards. So make sure you hit the subscribe button to follow along with me as we're working on this. And hopefully I'll be able to report back with amazing sales. But anyway, in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time.